All right, guys, Dana White just had some crazy breaking news. He did an Instagram live and revealed a whole bunch of new main events and fight announcements and just changes to divisions and a whole bunch of crazy stuff. So we're going to be talking about it today. I was editing my UFC Seattle video. That'll still be coming out probably on Friday, but I just had to make this video. There's so much stuff that we got to talk about and a bunch of shakeups to some divisions. I'm going to be going over all the posts they made on X. If you guys want to follow me there at Touch Gloves Pod, you can keep up with all the new fight announcements and injuries and cancellations and just every big fight news I'll be posting about and retweeting over there. First thing that Dana announced was Leon Edwards facing Sean Brady at UFC London. The original matchup for this fight was Leon Edwards versus Jack Della Maddalena, and now obviously Sean Brady's filling in to take his place. I like this matchup. I think that this is an interesting fight. I think that Sean Brady should be able to wrestle Leon. Leon has looked terrible in his last two fights, but you know, if Leon shows up with the striking, he could pose a problem to Sean Brady. Obviously, Bilal's beaten both these guys. Standing TKO'd Sean Brady and then just destroyed Leon. So I don't know who's going to win this one. I'm probably going to lean towards Sean Brady. It's an interesting matchup. The reason for Sean Brady replacing Jack Della Maddalena, though, is this fight right here. Belal Muhammad versus Jack Della Maddalena, new main event of UFC 315 in Montreal. Shavkat tweeted out that he got offered the fight, but he is injured from the Ian Gary fight or from Fight Camp, and he can't accept it. He's going to try and fight the winner of this fight later this year. So in the meantime, we're getting Jack Della Maddalena versus Belal Muhammad for the undisputed welterweight title. This is interesting because Jack Della Maddalena's only ranked win is Gilbert Burns. I don't know if Kevin Holland was ranked at the time of their fight. He might have been like 15. But either way, his big win is Gilbert Burns in the top 10. And Sean Brady's big win is Gilbert Burns. Obviously, Jack had, I think a more exciting knockout. He had a finish over Gilbert and Sean didn't. But I don't know. This is a fun fight, man. Jack is a fun fighter. Bilal's super entertaining in his last matchup especially. And I think these two dudes are just going to absolutely bring it. It should be a good fight for the fans of Montreal. I'm excited that a Canadian card is getting a good headliner. And in the co-main, we have Valentina Shevchenko versus Manon Fiorot. I wasn't sure if they were going to do the Weili fight and push it, but obviously Weili just fought. I think that this is good. It'll make it so that way Shevchenko and Weili should have similar timetables. Weili just fought on the last pay-per-view, so I'm seeing probably a fall pay-per-view with Shevchenko versus Weili super fight. In the meantime, we have Manon Fiorot. She's deserving of it. She's not super active, but she's kind of just been waiting for her shot, and now she finally gets it. And those are two really good headliners for the Montreal card. That's going to be a sick card. I'm glad they're showing love with two championship fights and two pretty exciting divisions. And on to the crazy news. This is the UFC 314 main event and co-main event have been announced. And it is Alexander Volkanovski taking on Diego Lopez for the undisputed featherweight title. You heard that correctly. That means that Ilia Topuria is officially moving up to lightweight. I don't know if he's going to take a title eliminator there or just instantly go against Islam. Maybe that's what they're cooking up for the Dustin retirement fight. But this is huge. Ilia vacating after just one title defense. He took out the two featherweight goats, arguably, in Volkanovski and Max Holloway, and then just leaves the division. He's such a gangster move, but this fight is amazing. I am really looking forward to this fight. I know they were kind of talking about this being a potential interim matchup if he was going to try and hold double champion status, Ilia. But yeah, this is for undisputed. I think that this is Diego Lopez's time, man. I'm a big Volkanovski fan, but I think that Diego Lopez is probably going to knock out Volkanovski here and probably become the undisputed champion, and I'm excited for it. He's such an exciting fighter. This is such a banger matchup. Someone's probably going to go out here, most likely Volkanovski, but you never know what's going to happen. Volk could show up and look vintage. He's had a layoff now. He's back training with Aljamain Sterling, and they're cooking up on his fight camp. And in the co-main event, we have a 5-round fight between Michael Chandler and Paddy Pimblett. This was also rumored. Now it's confirmed. It's confirmed 5 rounds, co-main event. Pretty badass fight. Michael Chandler still kind of getting good treatment from Dana for the McGregor, sitting around for McGregor for so long. Obviously, a big fight for Pimblett and a big fight for Chandler, I'd say, getting to go against a guy with a pretty hype name in a 5-round fight. It benefits Chandler here for sure. I don't really know who I'm going to lean on this one. Just off the top, probably Michael Chandler. I mean, he always finds ways to lose somehow, but I don't know. I don't think beating Bobby Green and beating Tony Ferguson is just enough to warrant taking down Chandler. Chandler hangs in there with the best of the best. He didn't get finished by Charles over 5 rounds just on the couple pay-per-views ago last year. So, but this is a sick matchup. And another thing they did alongside this was actually release the entire bout lists for 314, head to toe, every single fight on that card. I know pre-sale just went live, I think today, maybe it was yesterday. So the fight tickets are going to go, as you see here, yeah, there's link tickets. You can get tickets right now. So they released the whole card, and we're going to talk about every fight. So opening up the early prelims, Alberto Montes versus Roberto Romero. Nothing crazy, but it's still a pretty banger matchup. We have, I'm not going to try and butcher this name, versus Mitch Raposo. Another matchup that I'm liking. You know, these early prelims aren't too crazy, but there's some recognizable names here, and it should make for some good prelims. Dumas versus Michael Oleksiejczuk. That's a good fight. Probably lean Dumas there. And Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. That's just going to be violence. Someone's either going to get knocked out or get subbed. I'd probably lean Erosa on that one. Elkins, is pretty old and taking a lot of damage. And Julian Erosa has looked good in some of his previous fights. Moving on to the main card, man, we got Jim Miller versus Chase Super. We knew this one was happening. Now it's confirmed. That's going to be a sick fight. I probably nodding Chase Super to get it done. He's just getting the name of every big old veteran on his resume, and hey, all the power to him. He's a young kid. He's taking these hard veteran fights, and it's paying off. And we have Yan Xiaonan versus Virna Jandiroba. This has also been confirmed. Now it's officially on this card. Title eliminator. Probably going to be fighting winner of this, maybe Weili. I don't know. Maybe the winner. I don't know what they're doing with Weili. She was told that if she moves up, she's probably going to have to vacate as well. So maybe the winner of this will fight for a vacant title near the end of this year. But that's a pretty good matchup too. Just super badass women's fighters. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. Dan Ige is welcoming in another prospect into the rankings. Dan Ige is still sitting at 15, I believe. I don't know why they don't have him ranked on here. As of the rankings update, he was still 15. But either way, Dan Ige, dude's a gatekeeper. It's another good fight at featherweight. Will Sean Woodson pass the Dan Ige test? You know, a lot of good prospects beat out Ige, but you know, some of the more worser off ones, Ige usually ends up knocking out. So I'm excited for this fight. Someone's probably going to get knocked out here as well, or finished at least. It's a banger matchup. On to another one that we already knew was announced, but officially placed on the card here. Krylov versus Dominic Reyes. Nikita Krylov is returning from his hiatus. You know, a lot of people thought this guy was just dead or something. You know, he's out in Ukraine. No one heard from him for like 2 years. But officially coming back versus Reyes. Reyes got a bit of momentum on a pretty good couple fight streak. And I'm gunning Reyes to get this one done, hopefully. I want to see Reyes get back into that top echelon of light heavyweight. It's a kind of a weaker division, so I think he can play his cards right and get some good fights in there. And hopefully we see a vintage Reyes get a finish in that fight. And this fight, oh man, pure violence. Jeff Neal taking on Carlos Prates. He's going for both Neals. He finished Neil Magny last year in a main event and now taking on Jeff Neal. I think Prates is going to get this one done. I think he's the real deal. I think he's coming up on that short list of guys who should be fighting for the title soon at welterweight, and he adds Jeff Neal to his list. That's just another reason why he's such an exciting fighter. He's explosive. He has insane hands, and I cannot wait for that fight. That's not counting out Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal could get a knockout. You know, he has good hands too. But, you know, this is just an all-around banger fight. I'm leaning towards Prates if I had to pick somebody. And this is just insane. Officially announced, Patricio Pitbull is signing with the UFC, and welcoming him to the UFC is number 5 ranked Yair Rodriguez. So he instantly gets in that title eliminator ranking area of featherweight, and if he wins this one, he's probably going to be next for the winner of the main event here, Volkanovski versus Lopez. Just absolutely insane, bombshell amounts of news today. I still trying to wrap my head around, you know, Ilya vacating, and obviously that being an undisputed title fight in our main event there. And just so many of these fights that they announced are just bangers, man. Like, just full violence coming at us. Some absolute wars I'm expecting to see on some of these. Yeah, we have officially 3 title fights announced. new main event for London, banger co-main event, Paddy Pimblett's back, and the full 314 card. Let me know what you guys think. I just wanted to quickly get something out, get my thoughts wrapped around these fights, kind of talk about them, kind of give you guys my picks. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, and I'll have the UFC Seattle video out for you guys either tomorrow or on Friday talking about that card. And yeah, we'll see ya.